Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I have another exciting month to share with you. I am doing my completed pages for February 2025. Please excuse my voice, the sniffling, the throat clearing. I'm over the flu, but there's like all of this residual stuff, like this cough that I can't seem to get rid of. So apologies for that. I hope it's not too annoying. I will try to remove it if I can. So basically, my excitement is on YouTube, I started with 884 and I ended up with 984. So I had 100 additional subscribers and friends that joined the channel. So that was really, really exciting. I'm only 16 away from my goal of 1,000. So that's really exciting too. If you enjoy this video, please consider pressing like, subscribing, or whatever you can do, including just watching. So that was really, really exciting to me. On Instagram, I've been trying to post my pictures. I just keep forgetting. I have no excuse for that whatsoever, but I did have an additional 15, so I'm up to 906. So that's pretty exciting too, because I'm getting close to 1,000 there. I didn't work on any untouched books. I think I completed 12 pages in February, and one was a whip. So I think my total now is 59 whips. I'm trying to do at least one or two every month because I turned out having like 60 something, which blew my mind. Or some of them are going to be, throwaways. I'm not going back to them. I mean, they're so bad and it was so long ago. But I had a couple of buddy colors. I haven't been that good with reaching out to people, which upsets me because I really enjoy the buddy colors. But I made a new friend, Claire. We worked on Dunkelbunt together, so I'll show you both of our pages. And then I've got like a small group buddy with Christina's Art Corner and Bubble of Coloring. And every 2 months, we're going to be working in Dramenvanger by Tomislav Tomic. So I will show you what I'm up to. I'm about halfway through. I'm going to definitely complete by the end of the month, but I'm a little stuck on it. So I don't know. But so this was a really exciting month. Oh, also my troll came back and she left me a couple of messages. So that was really funny. I mean, I think the first one was, God, you're so boring. And I made kind of an attempt to explain that in my last video, that she doesn't know the half of it. I am so much more boring than this. This is me, high energy, excited. So could you imagine what I'm like at like 8 p.m. on a Tuesday? I am way more boring than this. So my response to that one was, yet you keep watching my channel. I don't know why you would do it, but hey, she must really like it, but she doesn't want to admit it. And then the second one kind of included my age, like I'm just another boring old, complainer or something like that. Whinger. Whinging, which is not an American term, really. I mean, if anyone wants to come back to me and tell me, like, where I live on the Northeast, we don't really use the word whinging to complain. So that makes me feel like they're from the UK or Australia, or definitely not Northeast America. But, hey, if you use whinging in the Midwest, let me know because I'm curious. But that was even funnier. I don't even know if I responded to that one, really. It just was so hysterical and the complaining was for like my regrets video. So like, hey, sweetheart, it's in the title, click past it if you don't want to watch people talk about their experiences. So it was really funny. I really enjoy when this weird person responds to me because I really do find them funny. So that's it. Everybody else has been extremely supportive. I love that I have some new people that have joined the channel, and I hope that everyone enjoys the video. So I've been talking too long. Let me move on to what I've worked on. So the first book I have, I'm actually working on something now. But for February, I did this heart page. And on here, I used my Ohuhu alcohol markers as a base. And then I used a lot of Jelly Roll Glaze and Jelly Roll Moonlight. I did not shade with pencil at all, which is very new to me. It is really all alcohol marker. I tried to make some darker areas for shading. I tried to leave in some lights, especially in the hair. And I really enjoy the page. I don't know why I get nervous when I work with alcohol markers. I think part of it is that once you press it down, you're committed. While with pencils, I could kind of erase it. So I do get a little nervous when I'm working with alcohol markers, but you know, hey, I don't know. But I like the way the page came out, and I'm pretty happy and excited to work on some more. I'm working on a whip now for March. Hopefully I can do 2 more. I started putting a check mark just next to the ones that I finished. I'm not even halfway full, but I think by the end of this year, if I do at least 1 per month, I am going to be at the halfway mark. So I'll be happy to show what this book looks like for me halfway filled. So that is the first book, Enchanted Faces by Hannah Lynn. Next up, I have Wildflower Folk by Christine Caron. This is a book, one of my 25 for 25 in 2025. Can't remember what it was called, but this is a book I would eventually like to finish. I'm doing at least 1 per month. So far, I've really only just been doing the 1, but you know, this is a beautiful book. I don't mind taking my time. I really enjoy working in it. So this month I did the fairy for February. I'm not good at pronouncing that, but I really like the way she came out. I used some Ohuhu markers for her skin. I based the skin in the alcohol marker. And then I tried using my luminance pencils. I am restricted with that because I don't have, I think I only have like 60 pencils now. I don't think I am really close to the 100 mark, but I still enjoy using them. I think she came out really pretty. I ended up using stickles on the wings, which kind of came out so nice, although I had a little accident and kind of spread some, but I ended up buying a few more. So I have like 3 now instead of just the 1. And I really like the way that came out. I think that's the diamond. I think it's the diamond color that I used. But everything else, I really like the way she came out. I think she came out really sweet. So I'm really happy with her. And I look forward to working more in this book. Like I said, totally love it. So that is from Wildflower Folk by Christine Caron. This is one of the books that I'm keeping this little chart. I do like it. It was discouraging in one book that I thought I was much further along in, and then found out I only really did 6. So that was kind of eye-opening. But in this book, I'm starting to get a lot of X's. So I will do a flip through probably at the halfway mark as well. And I hope to get to that by the end of this year for sure. So again, Wildflower Folk by Christine Caron. Okay. The next book was my buddy color. This is Dunkelbunt by Sarah Richter. And this was a first-time buddy color with Claire. And I think on Instagram, she's Diamond Painting Claire Redford. I think that's the 4. If I'm wrong, I will put her tag up when I'm putting up her page. And we worked on this person. And I did not read this name beforehand. Nahimana, I think is how it's pronounced. I thought it was like a geisha, and it turns out it's not. This is like I think a goddess in the Native American culture. So I definitely got that wrong because I even put some kind of Japanese symbol, I think, over here. So definitely she did not come out the way probably intended, but I really like the way she came out. I used watercolor paints for underneath the hair. The skin, I think I did base with alcohol marker, but this is such thick paper. I mean, listen to that. It is absolutely fantastic paper that it doesn't really come through. But I think I did base it in a really light layer because at that time I was still going for the geisha look. And then I thought this was a fan, so I colored it as some kind of fan. I don't know. I threw in a little flower in her hair. I used some stickles on that as well. But I really like the way the hair and her eyes came out. I kind of put some gray in there with the blue. My eyes are more gray than any other color, so I threw in a little bit of gray. But I did want it, I don't know, to make them look a little bit like my eyes. But on this, again, I did the watercolor base in the hair, and the rest I used my Polychromos pencils for the lips, for, everything, I think. Then I used a lot of gel pen in here to cover up the black lines, to emphasize some of the lines Sarah Richter had on what I'm calling the fan. And I just think she came out really, really pretty. Now I'm going to show you Claire's picture. And I really, really like how colorful her picture came out. I really love the color of the lips. Unfortunately, I do not have the pencils that she has, so I can't use the same combination in the future. But it came out really pretty, really colorful. Definitely for me, has that spring vibe coming in. So maybe she's as tired as I am of the winter. But it was really a fun buddy color. It was fun getting to know her, and I hope to do some more together. So that is what we did in Dunkel Bunt by Sarah Richter. Next up, I have Symphony of Cute Animals by Kanoko Agusa. If you watched my whole video, you'll know that this is a new copy of this book. I previously had, I think, the Japanese version, and I didn't like the paper. I could not get it to work for me. So I was at Michael's craft store and I saw this and I decided to try it because it definitely feels much different. So I worked on a picture that I had done before previously in the other book. Now, in all fairness, I don't think I was using watercolors or anything to base back then, but I really enjoyed working with this paper. I did not find it as difficult as the other, but I did use a watercolor base, and then I used my new ChromaFlows, which I really enjoyed using on this paper. They felt somewhere in between, for me anyway, somewhere in between like the Polychromos and the Prismacolor, like not as hard as the polys, but not as creamy as the Prismas. So I thought it was a nice pencil to work with. So the ChromaFlow worked really well on the English version of this book. So I think I'm going to be doing a lot more in this. I love these images. I just really did not like that paper, the Japanese paper. However, I recently was watching someone's completed pages and they were talking about not buying the English because the paper is awful. So to each his own, I guess. And I guess we got to find our own place, like what works for us. The other paper for me just I couldn't do very many layers with it. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a lot here either. It's just that I did use the watercolor as a base. So that kind of made it unnecessary for me to do a lot of layers. So I'm still going to be working with the book. I'm going to try my other pencils and maybe without a base of any kind. So yeah, I really like it. I had a lot of fun with this. So in addition to the ChromaFlows and the watercolor, I did use a lot of the white Signo gel pen around the birds, the moonlight I used as well, and not very much else to be honest. I left most of the black lines in. I just removed them around the chicks and the goose. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. So that is from Symphony of Cute Animals by Kanoko Agusa. Next up is a new book that I had received at Christmas time. And I really didn't do very much in this book. This is the Harry Potter book. It's an official Funko coloring book. Pop might be the series. I'm not really too sure. She purchased it at like Five Below, and it's amazing because now I'm seeing it at Michael's for like $15, and I know at Five Below it's $5. So I really enjoyed working with it. But what I did with this, I only worked on this front piece, and I decided to try different color pencils, thinking, this is really smooth paper. So I'm not sure how great it would be to do only pencil in this book, but, I wanted to give, like, not all of my pencils, because I think I got one or two more. I didn't use my Polychromos in it, but I used Prismacolor, Luminance, Holbein, and the ChromaFlows. And the pencil I enjoyed using the most in this really smooth paper was the Holbein. I kind of rated it 1 through 5, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the best, and I gave the Holbeins a 5. However, the Luminance and the ChromaFlow did really, really well on this. I gave them both a 4. To my surprise, what didn't feel that great were the Prismacolors, and I gave them a 3. And I felt like the pencil was getting very waxy very fast on this extremely smooth paper. So I think I'll try Prismas in a page, to see if in a larger scale, did I find that to be true. But I think I'm going to be trying like my newer, like the Holbeins and the ChromaFlows, and maybe the Luminance as well first, and then try to see what I think of working in this book. It is absolutely adorable. It's not really scary at all. I mean, there are a couple of pictures of Voldemort, but I don't think he looks that scary in here. But I think it's going to be a fun book to work in. So I tested my pencils and had a lot of fun with that. So that's all I did in this was work with these 4 brands of pencils on this page. So that is Pop Harry Potter, a Funko coloring book. Next up, I have Worlds Within Worlds by Kirby Rosanes, and this is the one whip that I worked on this month. And I finished this page, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. It was a little hard to try to get in the corners here, so I kind of gave up. But I used watercolor like in the background, especially on the wall. And I wanted it to look variegated. So, like in Morocco, kind of like the walls fade and they have these beautiful colors. So I did look up like common colors in Morocco, and blue and yellow and blue and gold were a very common theme. I decided to do a more limited palette to stay within this aqua, blue, yellow color scheme. I really like the way this came out. I really enjoyed using the watercolor in here. And in addition to the watercolors, I used my Prismacolor pencils, and I used some metallic watercolor and then some metallic gel pen. I'm not sure you're going to, oh yeah, I think you can see the metallic watercolor there. And then in here, I use mostly pencils, but then in these symbols, I tried to go in with, I think it was just a Jelly Roll metallic. I'm not too sure which one it was, but I did use a lot of the Jelly Roll Moonlight, the glaze, you know, and all these small little features. I didn't feel like coloring all of those with pencil. And in the book, I used a lot of the Signo Gold as well as the Jelly Roll Gold because they are slightly different colors, and I think it kind of came out nice on the book. So I'm really happy to have finished a long-standing WIP, and I had a lot of fun with this book. So I think I'm going to use watercolor a little bit more in here to see if I will tackle it, because it is, all of his books are quite detailed. So, you know, if you're going to do it all in pencil like I did when I first started out, it took forever to finish something, and it got frustrating. So now that I know I could use watercolor and it barely wrinkled the paper, I'm going to try that, at least for the background. So, yeah, that's what I did in a long-standing WIP, Worlds Within Worlds by Kirby Rosanes. Up next, I have my favorite mythographic book, which is Wild Summer by Joseph Cadenbang. And I worked on this page. I guess, I'm not really too sure if these were gerbils, or they look like gerbils, but I don't know. I just made them kind of gray. But I used my watercolor. Yeah, I used watercolor in the background. And then the rest, I used Albert Dürer, activated, and then I went in later on dry to put in some shadows in it. But the Albert Dürers worked really, really great on this paper. I really enjoyed working on this. I did use the Spectrum Noir Clear Glitter to go over the golds that I colored with the pencils. So you can see, I think, maybe you can see there that there is some metallic pen over my pencils. So I really like the way this page came out. I find that this book feels very vibrant to me, even though I tried to make the background as subtle as possible so that all of this would pop. I really feel like when I'm using a decent quality pencil, I get some really nice saturation in this book. So this mythographic is one of my favorite. I only have like maybe 4 or 5 pages done in here. That was last month, but I want to do more. This is a time-consuming book. So, you know, this is the page that I really am excited to do, but looks like it would take me so long that it keeps putting me off. So, you know, I got to get brave and just jump in, you know, maybe with a base of watercolor. And since this is single-sided, I could even try my alcohol markers. So, yeah, I got to get on program with this because I absolutely love this book. The next book I have is Christie's Spring Cutting Garden. This is a watercolor book. So I'm using this, the artist is Christy Rice, and it's on sort of like well, I don't think this is really watercolor paper, but it is a good quality, like cardstock. Yeah, thicker than the Mythographic, but I don't think this feels like watercolor paper. But I did try, because I wanted to work on my watercolor skills in a coloring book. So I worked on, well, I worked on something. Oh, I worked on this. I don't love it. The paper, and the reason why I'm thinking it's not watercolor paper is it was hard to get a good wash. The paint just kept soaking immediately into the paper. So I wasn't able to really move the color around as much as I would when I work on, let's say, a good quality watercolor paper. But it was interesting to do. I did enjoy it. I used various watercolors, metallic watercolors, like everything I sort of had in my arsenal. And then I did use some pencil over, and I think this is only my Prismacolor pencils to deepen some of the shadows. I tried to do as much as I could with the watercolor to try to get like some different colors, some darker, some lighter, highlights, but I'm not that good with it in a coloring book and with paper that I struggled with. So I'm okay with it. It's not the worst thing I've done ever, but it's probably like my least favorite this month is this page. But again, it was fun to try, and I will keep practicing on it because, it'll help me learn how to work with different type of coloring books. So that is Christie's Spring Cutting Garden by Christy Rice. Next up, I have Spooky by Sarah Sedgwick, and I worked on I don't know what I worked on. Oh, I worked on this page, but I wrote down January, but I did not do that in January. I did this one in January. So this, I'm going to have to just, no wonder why I was so confused. I couldn't figure out what I worked on. But I continued to use some watercolor. I used some gel pen or quite a bit of, alcohol markers. I only have the Ohuhu, so it's the Ohuhu alcohol marker. So I used that for basing almost everything. As I said, I did use watercolors in some spots, had them out, still trying to practice. I am running out of some of my alcohol markers, so I barely got a good blend here. I kind of made like a mistake there, but this paper does suck up the alcohol marker. So I think in a way, I wish I had some cheaper ones that, for paper that is very absorbent, I could just go in and use it. But I still enjoyed the page. I had a lot of fun working on this book again. So in addition to the watercolor and the Ohuhu alcohol marker, I used both my Prismacolors and my Polychromos pencils. So I think it was just like depending on the color is what I grabbed. And I also used quite a bit of gel pen. I used the Signo Silver in a lot of places, and I used the Signo White. So really happy with the way that page came out. I'm trying to continue doing this book every month. I may not work on it every single month, but it is such a fun book to work on, and I love all the bright colors I'm using in it, and I think it would be so much fun to see this filled. So I'm going to try to continue to work on this book. And the last book I want to show you is Drama and Vanger by Tomislav Tomic. This is a buddy color with Christina's Art Corner and Bubble of Coloring. And we are working on a double page spread every 2 months. So this is not complete, it's just a sneak peek. I'm working on it in March, and I think we are planning to all finish by the end of March. We are working on this double page spread. I really like the way it's coming out. I have used watercolor as a base. My pencils are mostly Prismacolor pencils. In some cases, I don't think I'm even going to go over it with pencil. There's enough interest, I think, in the watercolor tree, and then I added quite a bit of gel pen into it and in other spots, but I feel stuck. I don't know what colors to do these characters. I don't know if I should stay with kind of like this purple theme or do something dramatically different, bringing in a new color, like maybe an aqua, to really make them stand out from the background. But yeah, I'm really liking the way it is coming out though. I like my trees. I like my clouds. Still learning how to do those, you know, pink, purple clouds. I did use a lot of white gel pen as well to take out all of the black lines in the clouds. I won't do it everywhere else, but I thought the clouds kind of needed it. So this is what I'm up to in this book, and I will hopefully finish by the end of March as soon as I get unstuck. If anyone wants to give me a recommendation down below, I'd love to hear it, of whether staying with the color combo of kind of like the sky or bringing in something totally different. Yeah, so that is where I am. I don't think I used anything else besides the Prismas, the watercolor, and the gel pen so far. So yeah, so that's my page in Dramenwanger by Tomislav Tomic. So that is it for February. That brought me to about 12 pages, and that is about my average. I did feel like I struggled this month, and I struggled not with having like a coloring block or anything, but wanting to color, sitting down to color, but then feeling a little stuck by, well, what colors am I using this month? Then I don't know why I had that in February. It's kind of still happening a little bit in March, but I think I'm kind of coming out of it, that indecisive phase of not knowing what color to use. So, but basically, I still think I enjoyed my February. Was a quick month, but I got 12 pages done, so I'm happy. So I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, especially if you stayed this far. So bye, guys.